Then there is glycoprotein, that is TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. Then steroids, that is estrogen, progesterone, glucocorticoids, and vitamins, that is vitamin D. So, what are basically hormones? They are chemical substances synthesized by specific endogenous glands and secreted directly into the bloodstream to act far away from the site of production and release on specific target organs. So, these chemicals directly release into the bloodstream, and they are targeted to very different faraway organs. Okay? So, their functions are growth and differentiation, maintenance of homeostasis, reproduction and functional integration. Then there is pituitary gland, that is often called as the master of endocrine orchestra. Its functions are primarily controlled by the hypothalamus. Then the pituitary gland consists of three lobes, that is anterior lobe, adenohypophysis, intermediate lobe, and there is posterior lobe, that is neurohypophysis. So, hypothalamic hormones are actually controlling the release of hormones from the anterior pituitary and anterior pituitary gland. So, how that those hormones are connected to each other, that is hypothalamic hormone, they release the thyrotropin releasing hormone that in turn stimulates the release of TSH, thyrotropin or prolactin. Then there is corticotropin releasing hormone which stimulates the release of ACTH. The gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates the release of FSH and LH, and growth hormone releasing hormone that stimulates the release of growth hormone, and growth hormone inhibiting hormone that inhibits the release of growth hormone, and prolactin inhibiting hormone that inhibits the release of prolactin. And vasopressin and oxytocin are not connected to they are posterior pituitary hormones, and they are not stimulated by hypothalamic release. Okay? So, anterior pituitary hormones are produced by a separate group of cells that are somatotrophs that produce growth hormone, then lectotrophs that produce prolactin, gonadotrophs that produce FSH and LH, and corticotrophs that produce ACTH. Intermediate lobe produces melanocyte stimulatory hormones, and posterior lobe produces vasopressin and oxytocin. So, anterior pituitary hormones are regulated by negative feedback mechanism, a long negative feedback loop, and a short negative feedback. So, the feedback loop is like if there will be excess production of pituitary hormones, they will in turn give a negative feedback loop to the hypothalamus that stop releasing the like ACTH, the stimulating hormone, so that the pituitary hormones can stop releasing the pituitary hormones itself. So, what happens is the hypothalamus releasing factors, the hypothalamus releasing factors or hormones which stimulates the anterior pituitary. It produces and secretes the tropic hormones, and it stimulates the target glands to secrete hormones and acts on the target organs. So, pharmacologic application are replacement therapy, antagonists for excess production of pituitary hormones, and diagnostic tools for endocrine abnormalities. Then growth hormones, they promote growth, which is coordinated action of several hormones. Growth hormone promotes growth of all organs by inducing hyperplasia, proportionate increase in the size and mass of all parts except the brain and eye. So, how they promote growth is indirectly. They exert mainly through somatomedins or insulin-like growth factors, that is IGF-1 and 2, growth promoting nitrogen retaining and certain metabolic events. Then direct effect is that the lipolysis in adipose tissues and glycogenolysis in liver, and decrease the glucose utilization in muscles, and also direct effect on bone growth, stimulating differentiation of chondrocytes. The IGF-1 produced by the liver and other tissues. Receptors are like insulin, and the IGF-1 also stimulates the proliferation of chondrocytes, cartilages, that is cartilage cells that result in bone growth. So, the receptors are the JAK-STAT protein kinase type, and the regulation is of hypothalamus. It secretes GHRH and also inhibitory GHIH, that is somatostatins. Also, it is also found in pancreas, and it controls secretion and increases or decreases the cyclic hormone. So growth secretion is high in children and it reaches maximum level in adolescent, and it decreases in age-related manner, occurs in irregular pulses, that is there will be fall between these pulses, and amplitude of secretory pulses is maximum at night shortly after onset of deep sleep. So therefore it is always promoted that children sleep well. That is the basic time when growth hormone production is at the maximum. So secretory stimuli are fasting, hypoglycemia, stress, exercise, etc. And inhibitory stimuli are corticosteroids, free fatty acids, etc. So the human growth hormone is called HGH and are peptide hormone. So, what are the three abnormalities that can be because of the growth hormone? There can be a deficiency of the growth hormone that will produce dwarfism. There can be excess of growth hormone before the epiphysis closes, which can cause gigantism, and there can be excess of growth hormone after 18 years, which can cause acromegaly. So, clinical use, GHRH is used for diagnostic purpose to differentiate dwarfism, that is pituitary defect, a defect of somatotrophs, or hypothalamic defect or hypothalamic in origin, that is no production of GHRH. So, sermorelin, a synthetic analog of GHRH, is indicated in dwarfism. Subsequently, HGH levels is estimated, and if HGH level rises, fault lies in the hypothalamus. So HGH pituitary dwarfism is used in pituitary dwarfism. That is, somatotropin is available for clinical use and obtained by recombinant DNA techniques. So somatotropin is given in a dose of 0.03 to 0.7 mg per kg, intramuscular or subcutaneous, 3 times a week. Starts at the age of 3 and continue till 20 to 25 years, and should not administer to persons whose epiphyses are closed. Some of the side effects can be flushing, pain at the injection sites, dizziness, hyperactivity, and urticaria. In the first 8 weeks, intracranial hypertension, papillar edema, visual changes, and headaches, nausea, and vomitings are noted. So somatostatins, they are 14 amino acid peptides. They produce mainly by hypothalamus and also in the GIT. They inhibit secretion of growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and prolactin by pituitary and insulin, and glucagon by pancreas and all GIT secretions, that is gastrin and HCl. Then all GIT secretions are inhibited, including HCl, which causes diarrhea, chytorrhea, nausea, dyspepsia, etc. And they also constrict hepatic, splanchnic, and renal blood vessels. Some of the uses of somatostatin are they are used to prevent acute bleeding due to esophageal varices, upper GIT bleeding from hemorrhagic gastritis, intestinal or pancreatic fistula, hypersecretory tumor of intestinal tract, and there is a limitation that the short half-life, lack of specificity, and growth hormone rebound after discontinuation. So, what is used instead of somatostatin? Octreotide is used instead of somatostatin, which is a long-acting analog of somatostatins, that is 45 times more potent. It has a longer duration of action, that is T half is 90 minutes. Useful in acromegaly, its injection, octreotide is given in 100 micrograms subcutaneously thrice daily. Useful in some hormone secreting tumor and in bleeding esophageal varices. Octreotide binds preferentially to receptors on growth hormone secreting tumor, which in turn decreases the tumor size. The treatment of AIDS-associated diarrhea, Cushing's syndrome, and insulinoma. Octreotide labeled with indium and technetium used for diagnostic imaging of neuroendocrine tumors such as pituitary adenoma and carcinoids. Some of the side effects are abdominal pain, nausea, chytorrhea, gallstones, long-term therapy that may be effective. Vitamin B12 deficiency. So then is lanreotide, that is long-acting analog of somatostatin. It has the same effect like octreotide, and it is also indicated for pharmacotherapy of acromegaly. Then there is pegvisomant, that is, it acts as a growth hormone antagonist, and it is a polyethylene glycol complex mutant growth hormone which binds to the growth hormone receptor but does not trigger signal transduction. It is approved for the treatment of acromegaly due to small pituitary adenomas. Then prolactin. Physiological functions of prolactin are: it causes growth and development of breast during pregnancy, promotes proliferation of ductal as well as acinar cells in the breast, and induces synthesis of milk protein and lactose. After parturition, prolactin induces milk secretion. Regulation of secretion. Prolactin is under predominant inhibitory control of hypothalamus through PRIH, that is prolactin inhibitory hormone. Dopaminergic agonists like DA, bromocriptine, carboplatin decreases the plasma prolactin levels, and dopaminergic agonists like chlorpromazine, haloperidol, and metoclopramide and DA are respiratory. They cause hyperprolactinemia. So prolactin levels in blood are low in childhood, increases in girls at puberty, and are higher in adult females. A progressive increase occurs during pregnancy, peaks at term. High prolactin secretion is maintained by suckling, falls in breastfeeding, falls if breastfeeding is discontinued. There can be stress, exertion, and hypoglycemia also stimulates the prolactin release. Hyperprolactinemia is responsible for galactorrhea, amenorrhea, and infertility syndrome in women. In males, it causes loss of libido and decreased fertility. So, prolactin inhibitors, bromocriptine is a prolactin inhibitor. It decreases prolactin release from pituitary by activating dopaminergic receptors on lactotrope cells. Levodopa-like action in CNS, anti-Parkinsonian and behavioral effect. Nausea and vomiting by stimulating dopaminergic receptors. Hypotension due to central suppression of postural reflexes, and weak peripheral alpha-adrenergic blockade. It also decreases gastrointestinal motility. So its uses can be in hyperprolactinemia due to microprolactinomas causing galactorrhea, amenorrhea, and infertility in women, gynecomastia, impotence, and sterility in men. Parkinsonism. Bromocriptine is also used to suppress lactation and breast engorgement after delivery, like in stillbirth and following abortion. Carbapenem. It is a newer D2 agonist, more potent, more D2 selective, and longer acting. Lower incidence of nausea and vomiting. Therefore, it is preferred for the treatment of hyperprolactinemia and acromegaly. So, if you have two options in a BCQ of bromocriptine and carbapenem, please choose carbapenem. Then gonadotropins. It stimulates the gonads and promotes gametogenesis and secretion of the gonadal hormones. The NTA pituitary secretes two gonadotropins, that is FSH and LH. FSH in the female induces follicular growth, development of ovum, and secretion of estrogen. In the males, it supports spermatogenesis and has a trophic influence on seminiferous tubules. Ovarian and testicular atrophy occurs in absence of FSH. In LH, it induces ovulation. In males, LH stimulates testosterone secretion. So the uses are gonadotropin deficiency in males, undescended testis, amenorrhea and infertility, and in vitro fertilization to time the ovulation. So gonadotropin releasing hormones, they regulate the secretion of gonadotropins, FSH and LH secreted in a pulsatile manner. Gonadorelin is a synthetic gonadotropin releasing hormone. It is used in the diagnostic tests in hypogonadism. Pulsatile administration is used in infertility and delayed puberty. Continuous administration inhibits gonadotropin secretion. It is also used in prostatic cancer and some gynecologic conditions like uterine fibroids and endometriosis. So, leuprolide, gossyrin, nephrilin, and tiptorelin, these are the ones that are basically used in prostatic cancer or gynecologic conditions like uterine fibroids and endometriosis. So, in 1 to 2 weeks, they cause desensitization and downregulation of the gonadotropin releasing hormones receptors. and inhibition of FSH and LH secretion occurs, then suppression of the gonadal function occurs, which in turn spermatogenesis and ovulation ceases, and testosterone or estradiol levels fall to castration levels. So recovery occurs within 2 months of stopping treatment. It is used as a nasal spray or injected subcutaneously. Reversible pharmacological oophorectomy or orchidectomy is used in precocious puberty and prostatic cancer carcinoma, endometriosis, premenopausal breast cancer, uterine leiomyoma, and polycystic ovarian disease, and to induce ovulation. Used as contraceptives for both males and females. Gonadotropin releasing hormone antagonists. Some extensively substituted gonadotropin releasing hormones analog act as gonadotropin releasing hormone receptor antagonists. They inhibit the gonadotropin secretion without causing initial stimulation. They block the pituitary gonadotropin releasing hormone receptors and thereby suppress the secretion of LH and FSH and delay ovulation. They are used in vitro fertilization and also useful in prostatic cancer and reducing uterine fibroids and endometriosis. So the example of GnRH antagonists are ganirelix and cetrorelix. So now comes to thyroid stimulating hormone, and that is TSH, thyrotropin. TSH stimulates thyroid to synthesize and secrete thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine, that is T3. Its actions are it induces hyperplasia and hypertrophy of thyroid follicles and increases blood supply to the gland, promotes trapping of iodide into thyroid by increasing the sodium iodide symporter. They promote organification of trapped iodine and its incorporation into T3 and T4 by increasing peroxidase activity. The regulation of secretion, synthesis and release of TSH by pituitary is controlled by hypothalamus, primarily through TRH, that is thyrotropin releasing hormone, while somatostatin inhibits the TSH secretion. Dopamine also reduces TSH production and production induced by TRH. Then adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, that is corticotropin. ACTH promotes steroidogenesis in adrenal cortex, controls the synthesis and release of glucocorticoids, melanocorticoids, and androgens from the adrenal cortex. ACTH also exerts trophic influence on adrenal cortex. High doses causes hypertrophy and hyperplasia. Lack of ACTH results in adrenal atrophy. It is used in diagnosis of adrenocortical insufficiency. Then hormones of the posterior pituitary, that is vasopressin and oxytocin, as we studied before, not regulated by any of the releasing hormones. They are synthesized in hypothalamus, transported to the posterior pituitary and released in response to specific physiologic signals such as high plasma osmolarity or parturition. So oxytocin, it is used in obstetrics to stimulate uterine contraction and induce or reinforce labor. Oxytocin uses milk ejection by contracting the myoepithelial cells around the mammary alveoli. So toxicities are very uncommon if used properly, but some would be hypertension, uterine rupture, water retention, fetal death, that they have been reported. Contraindicated in abdominal fetal presentation, fetal distress, and premature deliveries. Then vasopressin, that is antidiuretic hormone. Vasopressin has both antidiuretic and vasopressor effects. In kidney, it binds to the V2 receptor to increase water permeability and reabsorption in the collecting tubules. Major use of vasopressin is to treat diabetes insipidus, also used in the management of cardiac arrest and in bleeding due to esophageal varices. Other effects of vasopressin are mediated by the V1 receptor, which is found in liver, vascular smooth muscles, where it causes constriction and other tissues. Major toxicities are water intoxication and hyponatremia, headache, bronchoconstriction, and tremors can also occur. Desmopressin is in minimal activity at V1 receptors, making it largely